Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Red Dead Weapons. Today we're going to be doing the model 1876 Evans Repeating Rifle. Now, the Evans Repeater in Red Dead 2 is, I'm assuming, a carbine variant. These guns were not that... Well, they were sort of popular, but the thing is, there was only 1,500 of these made, and they pretty much use the same loading mechanism as the Spencer Repeater Carbine, or the Repeater Carbine as is known in Red Dead 2. Now, this gun was designed by Warren R. Evans, and he was a dentist from Thomaston, Maine. It's a Maine rifle. Not a lot of rifles made in Maine. This rifle was started early manufactured in 1873 in Mechanic Falls, Maine. These rifles were marketed by Merwin Hulbert, better known for the Merwin Hulbert revolver, which was a double action. Evans himself patented this to the U.S. military, and it failed a dust test. Pretty much a dust test is to see whether or not it can take a lot of dust, because military is in a lot of hazardous conditions and all that, and it failed that. So he decided to market it to civilians, and it was popular by people like Buffalo Bill Cody and Kit Carson. Not that Kit Carson, the other Kit Carson, the other dude. There was a second one in the 1880s. Now, this rifle was considered extreme high capacity. Like, there's a reference of a model holding up to 36 rounds in it. Now, that may not seem a lot to modern standards, but in the 1800s, 36 rounds in a rifle, that is something else. This gun actually used its very own ammo. That's the reason also it wasn't that popular, because it used 44 Evans, which it was not that well produced. Now, there are 3 models to this gun. Old model, which was like the first ones, there was only about 500 of these produced. The first 200 of these had no cocking lever retaining stud on the underside of the magazine tube, and those rifles are marketed as Evans Repeating Rifle, patent December 8th, 1868 through September 16th, 1871. They were made in the following configuration: sporting rifle with walnut stock, checkering, and engraving available in special order. Those barrel lengths were 26, 28, and 30 inches on an octagon barrel. There's only 300 of those made. There was a military musket variant with only 50 of those made, and also had 2 barrel bends on it. And then the carbine version, which I'm assuming it is this one, because this is such a short rifle. Like, it just doesn't look as long as it did in Red Dead 1. And I feel like this is the carbine version, which was a 22-inch barrel, and it had a short forend retained with a single barrel band with sling swivels, and there was only about 150 of those made. So if this is the carbine version, which I'm assuming it is, this wouldn't have been used that often, and it would have not seen a lot of use because there's only 150 of them made. Now, if people are like somehow 3D printing Evans Repeater carbines in 1898 or 1899, then color me shocked. The transition model was made in early 1876. These were modified and were called the transition models, as I said before. These models had a walnut lower buttstock as well as a redesigned butt plate. These changes improved the balance of the rifle overall and actually protected it from damage. The markings on this rifle were the same as before, 1868 to 1871. There was a sporting model with walnut stock and all that, same either way. Those had barrel lengths of 26, 20, and 30-inch octagon barrels respectively. The military musket, which was 30-inch barrel, and this held 30 rounds in it, and a full forend retained with 2 or 3 barrel bands. So that thing would have been a whole barrel stock, which is not what we have. There's only 150 of those made, and the carbine had 22 rounds in it. Now, I'm just going to assume either this is a carbine variant with a sporting rifle magazine of 26 rounds, but I can't really tell. In Red Dead 1, it shoots 22 rounds, which was a carbine variant. Now, there's also a very special variant of this that was sold to a Canadian commander by the name of Ralph H. Kilby. He was a sporting goods dealer in Montreal and Evans agent, and there was only 100 of these Montreal carbines made. Now we're going to get on to the new model, which from Kit Carson Jr. came from, was an advertisement. Now, these guns, now the main ones are the new model. The main model Evans you'll find is the new model, and there's only 1,500 of these rifles actually produced. Sporting stock, military musket, and carbine, and Evans sporting rifle marked rifles. Those rifles, which are actually very rare, the marked Evans sporting rifle marked rifles, were found with instead of the usual markings on it, were assembled from old parts that weren't used in the original production of the old model. These were mostly 30-round barrels military muskets, which had a shortened forend with attached screw to it. And yeah, now this gun was in 44 Evans, and it was a 1-inch shell with 33 grains of black powder and a 220 grain lead bullet. This gave a velocity about 850 feet per second. Not a lot. When the new model came out, they switched to 44 new model cartridge. These were loaded with 40 to 43 grains of black powder and with lead bullets ranging from 275 grains all the way up to 300 grains. Now, with a 280 grain bullet, velocity was about 200 feet per second, and both of those cartridges were loaded by Winchester up to the early 1920s. Now, to get into this gun itself, it uses a unique corkscrew mechanism. This gun, you load it from the stock, and to load it, you can't just put one round in to top off the magazine. So you shoot one round and you load it. In the game, you just put a round in and you close the thing. But in reality, you would have to pump out the entire magazine just to reload it, which is why it was not a popular weapon of choice. Now, this gun, in terms of use, this gun is decent for headshots. It's a headshot machine, same with the bolt, because it goes through hat shots and online. It's really good for headshots. Personally, I prefer the Lancaster because that's a 66 Golden Boy, by the way, not a 73 Winchester. That's the Lancaster. That'll be the next episode. But anyway, back on the Evans. This gun has a volley sight. Now, I don't get why we can't use the volley sights, but if we could, I'm looking at Evans right now on my phone. I've shot one of these in real life. They're interesting to shoot, but it's yeah, it has like little tangent volley sights. Now, these volley sights could be flipped up and you could dial out the range. The maximum range on this thing was about 1,500 yards, what I'm reading here. This rifle is also a center fire round, so I was using center fire cartridges, which means it's striking in the middle of the bullet. Now, this gun, as you can see, the loading gate, you see that internal corkscrew magazine, it twists. It's like a corkscrew off the, like with the repeater carbine Red Online, like Red Dead 2 and such. That dispenser carbine, it uses the same magazine as this, but you load it with aluminum loading mechanic. It's like a little rod, and you put the bullets in, and Spencer shoots 50, 60, 56, 70. Spencer, I'll get into that other one. That'll be another episode. But Evans itself, it was sort of popular, but because it had the three major flaw designs, it couldn't really handle dust. It had high magazine capacity, yes, but if you wanted to reload it, you have to empty the whole mag, and that's the whole entire process. So you have to load 30 rounds through the corkscrew magazine, and it also didn't really have a trigger guard on it, and the dust cover didn't really protect it from dust, so it was known to get really fouled easily. This in game can hold up to it. Now I'm going to show you something with the reload. Alright, as you can see here, reloading through the buttstock, which is accurate, because in the first game, Red Dead 1, you would load through the normal magazine like a Lancaster or something, or Winchester. You see, with this, you're loading through the magazine, the corkscrew magazine and the buttstock, and you can see how it's corkscrews up into the thing, like the stock and all that. But if you're reloading it, if you had, say, 18 rounds and you had a 30-round Evans repeater, you would have to empty out those original 18 rounds, pick them up, and then put them back in your pocket or whatever, and then reload the full magazine again, which was why this gun did not sell that well. It's a very high-value collector item. I've shot it I went to a show one time. They had one of these to shoot as an option. Picked it up and I shot it. They never had that bad recoil. It was actually interesting to shoot, and you can also see the lever on it. You have a little two-set trigger piece, I'm assuming. And honestly, the way you cock this, it's not like a Winchester where you grab the lever and you just go with your fingers, just push down with it and you go poop, bam, it's ready to shoot again. It isn't like that. You have to manually grab that, pull it down, and then cock it. It's the same, but you don't have the eternal hammer like on the Spencer. And also, I prefer the Spencer over that. But this one in game, I'm assuming it's a carbine. I see the rifling down the barrel. I see like a 5-groove barrel. But yeah, this is a Evans repeater carbine, as I've said before. Now, loading. If I was going to rate this weapon for use and historical accuracy, it would be somewhat accurate. It wouldn't be that common to see it used. You could still get ammo for it. As I said, Winchester made ammo for this weapon up to the 1920s and early 30s. And it was popular as a target rifle, though it was also used by Geronimo's band of Apaches. There's photos of his men actually using this weapon. There's even one on the Wikipedia page for this. I also got this off of ForgottenWeapons.com by Ian McCallum. Ian McCallum. Anyway, you should go subscribe to that channel. Actually, he has a whole bunch of cool shit. Anyway, that'll be it for this episode of Red Dead Weapons. I would like to thank our sponsor, your boy, Raid Shadow Legends. Now, they don't actually sponsor me. I'm just saying this as a fucking joke. So please don't sue me, Raid. I'm not paying no lawsuit. But anyway, that is episode 10 on the Evans repeater carbine and its historical usage. Hope you all found this video informational and entertaining to watch. Thank you all for watching. Good luck out there, and peace.